that one by 9 racks to 1. But it's he who wins the lag here. And I think Jeremy Jones, again, it's pool against snooker, but from what I've seen of David Lilley over the years, he's a very clever player, and he might well adapt a little quicker to 9-ball than maybe Jack Lazowski.
Yeah, absolutely. You had mentioned that before, and of course he's facing an opponent that is very adapted to the game of 9-ball, and one of our world's best in Mario He. A lot of times 9-ball, though, if of course the snooker players, the cueing's great. They don't have to necessarily play the right shots all the time. When they're playing safe, they're going to be pretty handy. Maybe not your traditional safeties, but very good in that department. And, of course, knocking balls in, which is the foundation of the game itself. So it would be a surprise upset here, but maybe not as big a surprise as some others.
Before we get into the match, let me tell you about what happened on table 14 a little earlier. Simon Zappi won a match 9-1 against Ben Bloom. Now, nothing in that match of great note, apart from the fact that Ben Bloom is a very well-known journalist in the UK who writes for the Mail on Sunday. And he does a column which is very similar to what George Plimpton used to do in the USA. Play a sport firsthand, get to know what it's actually like, and then write a piece on it. Now, I believe that Ben's piece is going to be in the Mail on Sunday either next weekend or the weekend after, so keep an eye out for that. It should make very interesting reading. Of course, he's still got one more match to go, but at least he won a rack, and he'd never played 9-ball pool in his life.
Yeah, well, I'm sure his opponents will give him something to write about. He may not knock as many balls in as he would like, but it'd be an interesting read anyways. What a shot for Mario to start, and another one coming.
Yeah, he very much a favourite in this match. But Lilly, I think he's got the street smarts to make his opponent's life a little more difficult than maybe Jack Lazowski would. And of course, if he is going to miss balls, Lilly has certainly got the technical capabilities to knock them in.
Yeah, and you can't blame him. Easy safety there, but wanting to stay aggressive. I would have shot at it myself. Tough tables we're playing on here at the UK Open. And Lilly, like Lazowski, got his first match in. Now a much tougher opponent in round 2. I'll tell you a match I'm kind of keeping one eye on, Tyler Steyer. I believe he's trailing 5-1 now, maybe? Could be 4-1.
No, it's 5-1, Jeremy, you're right. Against Walter Lekra from Sweden, who's a junior.
Yeah, well, I watched him warm up, the junior, and he looked pretty solid. Of course, Tyler, a huge favorite in that match from what I did see, but now trailing 5-1.
So many things alien in 9-ball pool for the snooker players. One of them being this elaborate rest. You wouldn't get this in snooker. It's just a cross, basically.
Well, snooker, they keep things a little more simple when it comes to cueing, not as much side spin on shots. And, I'm not sure what the angle of the cue does in snooker. I mean, I got a good notion just because of what it does in pool, but sometimes those bridges that are, have so many options has, just a little bit more on the angle of the cue stick, the tip position, stuff like that.
Yeah, and of course in pool you've got the one bridge and that's it. In snooker you've got 4 different rests plus the half putt and the 3/4 putt, which is the lengthy rest to reach certain shots.
All right, awkward little shot here, trying to come to the rail, speed control. That's perfect. We talked about Mario to start the event, and he's one of those players, maybe more than any other player really, looking for that big title that's kind of eluded him. Whereas other players maybe not had the matchroom scene as much, but have taken down some bigger titles outside the matchroom events.
Well, we've talked about Jack Lazowski for obvious reasons. I think there are parallels between Lazowski And Mario He keeps knocking on the door, but not allowing it to open just yet. He has won internationally on the Euro Tour 6 times, but when it comes to the majors, he's been close, but no cigar. But you get the feeling it's only a matter of time. He wins the first rack here.
Yeah, and I hate to say it, that some of his losses late in the events have been some of the greatest matches to watch, just because of the drama involved and the great pool. And the most recent, the match with Kachi there at the Whirlpool Masters. What a match!
Yeah, he's had a really good season without lifting any silverware. Quarter-finalist at the World Masters and the Scottish Open. Semi-finalist at the World 9-Ball Pool Championship in Kielce, Poland in February. And that was remarkable because it was the highs, then the lows. In the quarter-final, he was 9-6 down to Neil Svein. He had an outrageous fluke in the 16th rack, ended up winning 11-9. Then in the semi-final against the eventual champion, Francisco Sanchez-Ruiz, he led 7-2, lost 11-8.
Yeah, and he had a match in the final 16, I think it was, right before that, a huge win, Hill over John Morris. So, of course, that's what we expect. We're seeing some of those lopsided score lines here early, but as the event evolves, so will those score lines, and they will get closer and closer. We see it every tournament. Nice break off here, long distance shot on the blue too, and seems like every shot you really can't take your eye off. There are no gimmies anymore.
Very sound cueist as well, he. Although on that occasion, it completely broke down.
Yeah, he missed the cue ball with a little right English there. A little unintended right spin. So now Lilly with an awkward situation. He may try and bank the 2, the blue 2, a couple rails below the purple 5 and the brown 7, and kind of pinch the cue ball to the backside of the red 3. Yeah, like that. That's what he was trying to do. The 2's going to escape somewhat. I'm not sure if an open pocket has developed. It appears possibly so.
For the sake of accuracy, we were talking about Mario He wanting to make the breakthrough and winning a Matchroom Major. Well, we should have said an individual Matchroom Major, because, of course, twice in partnership with Albin Auschen. He's won the World Cup for Austria in 2017 and again a couple of years later. And he and Auschen will reform their partnership in this year's World Cup.
Yeah, nice shot there. Not only pocketing the 2 a little half jacked up with the cue stick, but working the cue ball a couple rails, but in the midst of all that traffic. And you gotta like the way things are going with pool, I tell you. You know, of course, Austria, they got that dilemma between those 3 great players, Max Lechner, Mario He's on your screen, and Albin Auschen, who actually took an early defeat here in the first round. But just like the runner-up last year, Han, and yeah, that team will be changed this year for different ranking reasons. And Shark Syed is going to take Han's spot with Aloysius, yeah.
If you're just joining us, Albin Auschen was beaten 9-7 in by far the biggest shock of the tournament so far, beaten 9-7 by Phil Wildman. It was a remarkable conclusion. I was down there watching, and basically, if you haven't heard before, Auschen missed the 8-ball and promptly conceded. Yes, the 8-ball was pretty much unmissable, but there was no guarantee of position on the 9.
No, the 9 wasn't near a pocket. It was out in the middle of the table near the spot, you know, in its kind of usual position. But when nerves are high, Phil had to shoot the 8 from some distance, so speed control could have been off for sure. And had a big lead as well, 8-3. So you know that the pressure was mounting on Phil. Even though he was in a great position to win, you never know what might have happened. But Albin does get frustrated from time to time.
Oh, yeah, that came to the surface and then some. This is the point I'm making. I wasn't inside Phil Wildman's head, of course, but I would say in all of his life he's never faced pressure quite like that. That was on the verge of the biggest win of his career, and basically he was given it.
Yeah, and can't take nothing away from the win, though. He earned, that position he got into. Had to have played a fine match. We talk about Albin sometimes starting out slow in an event, and certainly that was the case here so far. He's got to come back too, Albin. He's got to come back and regroup and play another match today, or most likely play another match. I know some of the one-loss sides will play today. I don't think quite all of them. Another one that's in real trouble, and now down 6-1, is Tyler Steyer.
We've seen quite a few 9 balls missed so far on this main match table today, but that one was deposited with confidence. Mario He, 2-0 up on David Lilley. It's been really good to see so many people gathered around those outside tables, and it's non-stop action. Let me give you some more scores. Dimitri Ungo is through. He's beaten James Jack 9-2. Badr Alawadi on the hill against Nick Malai at 8-3. Loho Sum, Antonius Kakaris 4-4. Chang Jung-lin finding difficulty in shaking off Kim Soo-Garmak from Norway. It's 5-4 to Chang. 5-2 for Marcel Price over Elliot Sanderson. As Jeremy was saying, Tyler Steyer encountering early problems. Woo Kun Lin, 6-4 up on David DeSantis. And Mieska Fortunsky, he's raced onto the hill against Jack Lazowski at 8-2.
Heavy kiss on the cue ball. It's going to go up to the top rail, then make its way near the blue 2. Very good look at the blue 2 with the red 3 very handy. There's some work from the 3 to the 4. Maybe a 3 rail position here off the 3 to get back to that pink 4. We'll see here in a moment. Now, can he avoid the 3 with a high ball? I don't know. I think this angle is kind of tricky. Looks like he can get just above it, 2 rails. He wants to play for a very big angle here to come with top spin. Maybe a hair of inside English, some 3 rails around for the pink in the upper left. Good thing for him is the 6 is near. So as long as he doesn't end up too short, he can handle a little bit on the pink. That's got to go. It's missed by some mark, and here early you got to figure that safety's coming. Probably bank the pink 4 back down, kind of follow the cue ball through to get behind the brown 7 and black 8. The long rail bank sits pretty perfect. Now he's overhit this. Well, maybe not. Maybe the cue ball did stay behind that little nest.
Jack Lazowski has been sent to the one-loss side of the draw. Mieska Fortunsky winning 9-2. No surprise.
No, maybe the scoreline a little bit, but Fortunsky can certainly get going. One of the more aggressive players. I love his cueing as well. Could get a little action on the 9 here, kicking to the bottom cushion, coming across the pink 4. Not sure if he has action on the 9 kind of going towards a pocket, but you never know. Not at that speed. He's going to serve up ball in hand. No cushion after contact.
He's had a very interesting career, has David Lilley. I'll tell you all about it in between racks. Knew immediately that he hadn't hit a cushion. That's why he touched the white to say, here's the ball for you.
Yeah, and the thing about Mario, just really no weaknesses at all. Very, good rhythm with the cueing, which holds up under pressure really well. Very smart player that can come with the starter as well. So the funny thing to me is, normally in the big situations, it's the start that gets you a lot of times and kind of sets the tone. But for him, most of the matches we talk about that have taken him away from championships, he's been in the lead. He's been in comfortable positions usually. So quite odd not getting across the line there late in some of the events.
Yeah, in that semi-final against FSR in the early stages, I thought he was outstanding.
Yeah, I think it was the semifinal at the European Open last year. He played a beautiful match to get a very big lead. I think at 6-1 and maybe something like 9-5-ish before losing to Albin, and it looked a little wide of the mark.
At that speed, that was a pretty routine shot, Jeremy.
Yeah, kind of pulled the trigger, I thought, a little fast and a little shocking. I thought he would stun over versus rolling the ball, but decided to go with a high ball, get a little closer to the 9. And just a miss right from the get.
Nicely done from David Lilley. It looked as though he was going to fall 3-0 adrift. In actuality, it is just 2-1 to Mario He. Yeah, so basically, David Lilley, for many a year, was good enough to turn professional snooker-wise, but he didn't. He was working in the insurance business and decided to just carry on playing snooker recreationally at a very high level, mind you. He won the English Amateur Championship on 3 occasions, 97, 99 and 2004. The European Amateur Championship in 1995. But he decided, as I say, not to go down the pro route until he was well into his 40s. Actually turned pro in 2019. He has reached a quarter-final of a world ranking event. And in 2021, he beat Jimmy White 5-3 in the final of the World Seniors Championship.
No. Very qualified player, and now our first break shot from him. I'll tell you, on table 2, a guy that I thought would be maybe kind of like a sneaky little underdog to maybe win the tournament, Wu Kun Lin, who's had some great results this year and is just steady as they come. He cannot shake the man from Spain, is it? I don't know DeSantis, but he only trails 6-5 in that match.
Close. Italy.
Oh, Italy. Yeah, that makes sense. Excuse me for that. And I'll tell you what, he's really hung tough considering I believe he was down 5-1 in that match and now has won 4 out of 5 to close it to 6-5.
The winner of this match, by the way, next up will take on either Marco Dorenberg of Germany or Dimitris Loukatos from Greece. They haven't started yet. Now that was better from Mario He, much more like it.
Well, he's an aggressive player like all the best players are, and you wonder what goes through his head, though, right? I mean, it's got to mount a little bit of pressure, getting to good situations in the event and not getting a win. He overdrew the ball a little bit here on the 3. He's going to have to make a decision.
When players are using below centre striking for position, time and again on this main table, Jeremy, we've seen them overdo it. It's a lot more reactive than they imagine.
Yeah, the table conditions, it's just almost like you have to remind yourself every time you come, to the biggest events that the tables just play a little slicker. I'll tell you what, though, no complaints from tournament to tournament. They seem to be very happy with the conditions. Now, a little funny here. Going forward, it looks like he may catch a piece of the 9 and offer a possible scratch in the lower left corner. So I think he's got to draw this ball. Makes it very missable. Cue ball could end up near where in the lower right corner where the 4 is being played. You got a lot out of that. What a nice stroke. Nowhere near out of the woods, though. Off angle here on the purple 5. And I'm not sure if the brown 7's not in the way of trying to go forward and then back down for the green 6. You may see him elevate and take this 4 on in the corner. All right, he's leveling out. May have to flirt with the 9 ball here. Well, never mind.
The Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. An outrageous fluke followed by the scratch. When the fluke went in, immediately my mind went back to that match against Niels Fine in the World Championship. But then the white quickly followed.
Yeah, the white got kissed by the purple 5, added a little speed to the cue ball, and now Lilly in a great position to tie our match.
Indeed, David Lilley does just that. The scratch off the fluke from Mario He was his last contribution to the rack. It is 2-2. David Lilley, by the way, is from Washington, not DC, or indeed the state in the Pacific Northwest. It's a town in the northeast of England, not too far from Newcastle, and he's a big Newcastle United soccer fan.
Yeah, you read my mind there, Phil. I was curious what city he was from.
Interestingly, though, in the town where he is from, there's a golf course called the George Washington Golf Club. So maybe there is some kind of American connection there.
Yeah. Wonder how old the club is.
Well, I've played the course. It was a very nice experience. Now, in the middle there, that's Gary Wilson, who's also from the northeast of England, a good pal of David Lilley's, who's still involved in this event. He's a snooker player as well. He won the Scottish Open last year. He won his first match today, 9-2 against Joe Granville. Petri Mäkinen, the Finn, has started his second match of the day. He's 4-1 up against Adam Stankiewicz from Poland. Tyler Steyer fighting back a little against Walter Lekry. Now 6-3 to the youngster from Sweden. 7-2 Marcel Price over Elliot Sanderson. And a player we saw first up on the main table today, Duong Quoc Hoang from Vietnam. He's 3-1 up on Chris Cowie of GB. On table 2, some daylight now for Wu Kunlin of Chinese Taipei. 7-5 up and breaking on David DeSantis.
Yeah, actually it's 8-5 now. He just had a golden break. So on the hill. Little delay with the referee here.
Badr Alawadi from Kuwait comfortably defeated Nick Malai of Greece 9-3. And Chang Junlin, it's been a tough outing for him, but he is 7-5 up on Kim Soo Garmak of Norway.
I think I saw Thorsten Homan and Dimitri Youngo just lag, so that's a great second round match that's about to begin.
Yeah, I think it's a real indication of the strength of the field here, that certain second round matches pit two very good players against each other.
Yeah, and you can get used to that, I think. As time goes on, we're going to see more of those second round matches become more quality. You could see the open hand break there on the break shot. A lot of clusters down here on the bottom. Did get the one down in the upper corner. Has a thin two in the side, the blue two. Should be playable.
One other score I must give you, because it's one of the chief contenders, Eklan Kaci of Albania, 6-1 up on Ionan Ledani from Romania.
Well, Eklan, I think, is just in a great place. You know, personally, I think he's just seems very happy and very directed. Of course, opening a pool room back in Albania, and of course a big win earlier this year. Just a lot of things going right. Played a great Whirlpool Masters. Just a very well-liked player out here on tour and a champion, that's for sure. Is he playing the kiss shot here? That was all about gaining position on the pink, so showing a little bit of that clever you were talking about, Phil.
Yeah, I must qualify what I said. He's certainly not an expert, but he does have that Q Sports acumen.
Yeah, that gut instinct, right? Well, just like so many of the, great English 8-ball players and a few of the snooker players, both men and women, that have changed to 9-ball pool, and you can see the class. It sometimes takes them a little time, but you can see the class, and that's a big part of it there as well, knocking balls in.
Yeah, he's always been a cultured player as well, David Lilley. Doesn't bang the balls around. He floats them, cajoles them, persuades them to go in. And that was a prime example.
Yeah, we'll see what type of positional play he has here. Most would come with some 4 rails in between the 7-9 off of 2 cushions, catching the left long rail and dropping for the 6. Not a whole lot of angle here to do that. So it's one you can't just hit softly and get position. So some work here.
Now that is a living legend. Ralph Souquet, into his 50s and still very competitive, as he showed at the Scottish Open at the weekend. Lost in the semi-finals, 10-9 to Jason Shaw. He broke off in the deciding rack. Had a chance of a tricky 2-ball. Well, I think tricky's underdoing it. A 50-50 2-ball. He decided to play safe. He just overhit the safety slightly, left the 2 to middle, and of course Jason Shaw, being the magician potter that he is, cleared up.
Yeah, it was always going to be difficult position from the purple 5 to the green 6, and I'll tell you, Ralph, I think it was maybe in Poland we talked about it, how he feels like he's got another big one, that another big title in him. I think many of us agree, and of course the Scottish Open wouldn't have been that big title, but that just shows you, with that class of field, that he's still very capable.
We mentioned this a lot because it was the tournament in question, but I think his record at the Whirlpool Masters, winning 6 of them, is one of the most remarkable things in pool, because it is such an elite field. And to win that event twice or 3 times, wonderful. 6 times.
Yeah, twice a runner-up, I believe, as well. So this ball may spread. Yeah, there it is. One thing. Fortune favors the brave, and Mario He got a taste of that there. In good position here on the brown 7. He's going to have to shoot the 8 from a little distance. Shouldn't be a problem. I believe Tyler Steyer has lost another game over there now. It's 7-3 trailing. tell you how that confidence is. He decided to just elevate the cue, put a little pace into that, just so he didn't get so far away from the black 8.
The old running side shot around multiple rails, perfectly on the 9. So Mario He is back in front. He led 2-0. He was pegged back to 2-2. Now the Austrian leads 3-2. On table 10, Hayato Ishikata from Japan dispatched Hunter Lombardo in the first round. He's taken the first rack from Luke Rollison. Petri Makinen 5-2 up on Adam Stankovic of Poland. 5-2 the score, as I say there. David DeSantis has just pulled a rack back on table 2. Wu Kun Lin still on the hill at 8-6. As Jeremy has just said, Tyler Steyer in trouble against the youngster from Sweden, Walter Lakra. Marcel Price on the hill against Elliot Sanderson at 8-2. Loho Sum in a battle against Antonius Kakaris, 5-4 to Hong Kong over Greece there. Abdullah Al Yusuf and Carl Naderberg 2-2. Duong Kwok Hwang 4-1 up on Chris Cowie. Alexandros Horsens, he's taken the opening rack from Torsten Homan, and that's the same situation for Joni Uski of Finland against Sharik Saeed of Singapore. Eklund Kaci 6-2 up on Ladany of Romania now, and Fedor Gorsht, I'd love to see him do well because he's been winning so many tournaments in the States over the last couple of years. It's been a remarkable show of not just prowess but also stamina, and he's 1-0 up on Abdullah Al-Shamari. After the next rack, I'll give you some losers round 1 scores. I think it's fair to say in this match so far, Jeremy, the balls haven't exactly been cooperating off the break.
No, not so much. They've been good break-offs. Lilly's, I thought, didn't open the balls quite as much as I thought or expected. Now a little bit of a safety shot, most likely. Could play a little bit of a two-way with the cross-corner bank on the blue too, but gotta believe he's going to go just all out for the safety. Got a lot of options with the safety here. Could go behind the pink 4 pretty easily. Could go all the way to the top rail. He tried to play the two-way, so he's going to leave a little more of a look than he wanted. It looked a little bit like a last-second decision to go for that two-way, and Lilly now with a bit more of an opening. Nothing offensive, but definitely a safety available. He can definitely get at the blue two. I'm not sure what he can really play. Depends on how much he can get at it. And he may be able to bank it between the 5 and 6, the purple 5 and the green 6 back down table if he can get enough of it. If he does that, he's going to probably have to draw the cue ball a bit. He tried to follow it. He's going to get a little fortunate here behind the purple 5. Yeah, the 2 rails escape, and I'm sure a miss hit, even though not a full-time 9-ball player, you had to kind of know he's great at cueist, and that hitting underneath that ball offers a scratch quite often.
Normally so dependable, Mario He, from this kind of position, ball in hand, balls open. You'd expect him to take a 2-rack lead. Fully expect him. We've talked about his prowess in the World Cup of Pool over the years. Well, a player who represented GB in the World Cup last year has suffered a heavy defeat. Elliot Sanderson beaten 9-2 by Welshman Marcel Price. The shouter silenced.
Yeah, and he'll have to think that one over, and he should have a day off tomorrow, I believe, and get to regroup after a long weekend at his home pool room there, his home club that held the Scottish Open. Pretty good pool by Elliott last weekend as well. I think he made it to the final 16, that Scottish event. Mario He back trying to get back to a 2-game lead.
There it is. As soon as David Lilley escaped the hook and scratched, you got the feeling that it was going to be his final shot of the rack and he was going to spend the rest of it sitting down. That's exactly what transpired. Mario He back in front by 2, as he was at 2-0. Now, though, it's 4-2. So some winners to give you in the losers' first round. Soren Victor Dimofti, Neil Margossian, Jonas Kornmesser, Ivalo Semyonov. He beat Michael Dodd 8-5, so the American is 0-2 going home. And spare a thought for Andy Gecki from Albania. He lost to Dimofti, and today he's played 2 matches, not just lost them, whitewashed in both.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, and hopefully he'll be back in one of these events to make up for that. A little bit of a learning lesson. Nice break off there from Mario. He's got a pretty good shot at the 2. The red 3's a little grouped up and tied up with the pink 4. Maybe a combination on what's offered here, and doesn't appear the 3 slides by the pink 4. So a difficult shot here on the 2. None of these can be overlooked.
You know, Jeremy, I love my terminology. If you lose 9-0, 8-0, would that be a double goose egg?
Well, you could label it how you want. Maybe just don't ask the player that got beat. Maybe that's the only person not to talk to about it, but you know, we'll give you the credit on the double goose egg. Doesn't come up very often. Oh, nice Nice flowing stroke into the side there.
Yeah, because it might have been off-putting, because I think as he was down on that shot, one of his logos fell off.
Yeah, I can see it on the floor now. I don't think he really even noticed it. Okay, playing the safety here behind the brown 7. The speed was quite a bit off, and maybe the hit on the 3 really is what caused the wrong speed on the cue ball. A lot of times you got to ignore the 3 getting so far down table and really just play the cue ball speed, just because you're such a favorite to put him behind the brown 7. And now Lilly with a long distance shot, but one he should get down. Now, this is the difference, I think. Long distance cue action, not so much making the ball, but can he get a lot into the cue ball from some distance? Kept it pretty simple. Does have a pocket for the purple 5. Does squeeze by the black 8. Easy to overcut this, just a touch. Dead center.
The one thing that is a common factor with all of the snooker players, they have reliable techniques, don't they?
Yeah, and it's a little different than the pool technique. Just, I think, because it has to be, or at least the pool has to be different. Snooker, they don't use quite as much side spin. Even though when I watch the snooker players come over for the pool, they're not afraid at all to use side spin, right?
The one thing about the snooker players, I think, which is true, is that their upper body movement is minimal.
He left him a lot of distance here, and of course used to the 6x12, but this is still a tester.
Yeah, that would be just short of a mid-distance spot on a snooker table. On here, as you say, it really was an examination, and one that was passed with flying colours. So David Lilley not in front, but acquitting himself pretty well. He trails only 4-3. It's not been a good day for Austrian pool so far, given Albin Auschen's surprising defeat by Phil Wildman 9-7. Could Mario He also suffer and be on the incorrect side of an upset? Well, long way to go before that happens, but at least Lilly showing he's capable. Also very capable, Chang Junlin. Watch out for him as the week develops. He has beaten Kim Soo Garmak 9-5. So many terrific Chinese type players, and obviously Chang is right up there on the list.
Yeah, on our other match table, Wu Kunlin, another Chinese Taipei player, went on to win 9-5, I believe it was. He's kind of the one that just doesn't get talked about enough, I think, and has had some great results in some big events.
Yeah, just to confirm, Wu Kunlin through. It was actually 9-6, but I think it was a little more comfortable than the score suggests. Nothing comfortable about that one, though. The scratch off the break. Ouch.
Yeah, and it looks like the black 8 has covered up the 9 to where the combination on the 2-9 not really available. So it should be a combination on the 2-8 here for Mario. I'd like to get close to it, though. He's really surveying to see if the 9 can squeeze by. The type of shot, though, you're not going to hit it hard trying to let it squeeze by the 8, and could easily sell out a combination in return for Lilly, you know, if he doesn't get it down. So questionable call here. I think I play for the 2-8 combination and try and run out myself anyways. I like him trying to get close to it, but again, this is not the type of combination on the 9 you're going to shoot with much speed. So you could easily give up the game, or just as easily give up the game as you could win it. I don't even think he's looked at the 2-8 combination either. It's not hard. in a great position to roll that 2-8 in and have position on the 2. So this is all or nothing. Well, he did hit it with a bit more speed. Now that was to make sure he didn't sell out. But again, that lessens your chances of making that 9 ball. So a little confusing to me, Phil.
Well, the gap, and this is very simplistic, but the gap between the cushion and the 8 ball was tiny.
Yeah. And lessening the chances, again, of being accurate with a little more speed and letting the object ball slide a little bit. So almost like he's playing like no worry at all, in my opinion.
We've seen today certain opponents where he can be like that, let's face it.
Yeah.
But David Lilley isn't one of them.
I don't know if he got over there enough. He may have trouble coming with backspin to get back onto the purple 5. He played the safety. Pretty smart, right? And, very good mental game there. Didn't think twice about the safety. Didn't want to take any chances trying to get position. Could easily have knocked the pink in. Now Mario's still also probably pretty happy to be back at the table, but very disciplined there. A lot of players would have pushed it one way or another.
I mentioned the fact that Lilly had won the English Amateur Snooker Championship 3 times, which is a phenomenal achievement because you start out, having played in it myself, in a different life. You start out in your local area, then it goes to regions, then it goes to the finals. You have to play an awful lot of snooker against some fine players, especially towards the end. And to win it 3 times is a real feather in his cap. It's actually snooker's oldest event. It predates the World Championship. It started in 1916, and one of the early championships was won by an American who came over and played snooker for a while, fell in love with the game and ended up winning the English Amateur. Obviously the standard then was nowhere near what it is now, but nevertheless there is an American name on the trophy. Yeah, the World Professional Snooker Championship began 11 years later in 1927. The first winner, Joe Davis, pocketed £6 and 10 shillings. At the time around, I think it was $12.
All right, it appears got a little out of line here. May have to just hold the cue ball, take a little thinner shot on the black 8. Doesn't appear to be too much of a problem. I think Tyler Steyer now down 8-4 maybe.
8-5.
8-5, okay.
Still grim.
And Tyler, it's amazing the matches he plays. And then, of course, I haven't seen a whole lot of mistakes from Tyler. Now I'm some ways away from the match and certainly haven't seen every shot. But it's like shots you don't expect, kind of like this one here. May be fortunate enough to get something on the 9, but didn't really draw the cue ball much. But just from nowhere, he kind of loses matches as a big favorite sometimes. And you kind of makes you scratch your head and wonder.
The positional effort we've just seen from 8 to 9 there, that was a result of not really understanding the reaction.
Yeah, no, he certainly couldn't play for the bank here. This was one of the more awkward banks and one that a player may play a two-way shot with, but not the bare ball. You're not going to go for the cross corner. It's either going to cut the 9 down the rail, maybe a cross-side bank or a safety. I like his chances here, though.
Well, it was certainly the correct pace to play it at. That opened the pocket, if you like. And David Lilley, every credit to him. It's an alien game, 9-ball for Lilly, but he's doing okay. A smile on the face as he looks over to his pal Gary Wilson. He's on level terms with Mario He at 4-4. Let's have a look at some other scores in this winners round 1. Loho Sum and Antonius Kakaris 5-5. Karl Naderberg from Estonia 4-2 up on Abdullah Al Yusuf. Petri Makinen now 6-4 up on Adam Stankovic. Hayato Ishikata and Luke Rollison 2-2. And Wong Kwok Hwang, clearly he's improved from his first showing earlier today. The break is more effective and he leads Chris Cowie 6-1.
Very good break off there. Great timing, the one on the side. Anytime you see the balls run like that, the timing was good. The ball's coming out of the rack, and a great position to maybe work his way through and get a lead in this match.
Already through, Eklund Kaci. He's beaten Ionan Ladani from Romania 9-2. Watch out for Mr. Kaci.
Yeah, he's ended up a little short here, so an awkward stretch over the lower right corner. Not a whole lot of concern. I don't really see him do a ton with side spins so far, so maybe just stay away from the 8, the black 8. You don't want to get some awkward cueing of some sort. Oh, really nice control.
I can tell you one thing for sure about David Lilley. He's got the composure and the nerve to win this if it goes close. But whether he's got the game, that's an entirely different matter. Chance squandered.
Yeah, and I think that's where, you know, I don't know how much pool he plays really overall, but that's where the different size balls and the way they throw, you could see a little more attacking on the bottom of the ball, not a whole lot of side spin. Where you'll see the pool players maybe cue that with a little more side.
You're absolutely right, Jeremy. You know, I was watching Jack Lazowski very intently in his match, and when he got a cut that was thinnish, something like that, if he did miss, it was always undercutting.
Yeah, and that's just not understanding the swerve of the ball a little bit more. Maybe the felt as well. That's another thing we don't talk about enough when the snooker players kind of switch over. Much different with the bed felt. I mean, there's a number of things that are taking on, right? I mean, they almost always switch cues of some sort, going to a 9-ball cue, and that's something to deal with. Especially when, you know, your snooker cue, if you're a snooker player, or your pool cue, if you're a pool player, that's kind of like your baby, you know, so not to have your baby or your whatever you want to call it right next to you when you're in battle, it's kind of difficult.
Well, funnily enough, I was just mentioning the first ever world snooker champion, Joe Davis. His brother Fred, who also won the championship on numerous occasions, turned pro when he was a teenager, played his last match when he was 78, and he used the same cue throughout his career.
Wow. So that was one of the brothers. I think one of them, you told me, just ended up quitting, right? Just won a bunch of times, and maybe he didn't want his brother to win, or I can't remember exactly how you told me.
Well, the turning point was 1946. We'll just see this 9-ball go in. And it does. And so Mario He regains the lead for the third time at 5-4. Yeah, basically 1946, the first post-war World Snooker Championship. Joe Davis won it, but he was run very close by Fred, his younger brother. And so Joe basically decided to retire, not from tournaments, just from the World Championship. He'd been undefeated in the championship from 27 to 46 inclusive. And he didn't want to lose that undefeated tag, particularly to Fred, his brother. And so he played in all of the other events, but not the big one. And consequently, people quite rightly said, well, yeah, it might be the World Championship, but Joe's not playing. It doesn't really mean a lot. And a decade later, it went into abeyance, the championship, and didn't return until, well, over a decade after that.
Well, Joe definitely had an impact then. I believe the youngster may have just missed the 8-ball, maybe to take Steyer down. Steyer at the table. I think that'll make it somewhere around 8-6 if he does make this 9-ball. Maybe even 8-7. I'm sure Phil will tell us here shortly.
Yeah, on my scoreboard, it's got 8-5 still to the Swede. I know there are a lot of fans of Fedor Gorsht out there. He's 4-2 up now on Abdullah Al-Shamari of Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, whoever wins their first 2 matches from that point on will only have to win 1 out of 2, I believe, to advance into our final 64 from there. So the second round match kind of gets you in as good a position as you can be in here early in the event. Well, again, just great break off and really no weaknesses from Mario. He's made a few mistakes, that's for sure, in this match, but I think he's got a 2-ball that may just barely sneak by the red 3 some distance away and may not have the entire pocket to shoot at, so a decision to make.
And that decision could be guided by the fact that in this match he's not been remotely near his best.
Staying aggressive, staying true to what we're used to seeing from Mario. Didn't take a whole lot of time at looking at the 2 by the red 3, so it must have a full pocket. And you could see it did. It hit the left side, but really, really confident stroke, and now in a great position. Got some work, though. Probably has to play the 6 all the way up in the top left corner. Just kind of where he's gotten here on the 3. That's what I think we're going to see here in a few shots. Well, that tells me he was doing everything not to have to shoot the green 6 all the way up in the upper left past the side, the left middle. Force the cue ball all the way down the table to gain more angle on the pink 4 to be able to work the rock. It's an odd shot from not such a thin angle. Watch out for the side where he's standing. And he's going to hit this nicely. Fall a little straight on the green 6, so possibly has to draw short side on the brown 7, but shouldn't be a problem.
He's done some sterling work in this rack. Can he apply the finishing touch?
Yeah, and it's not easy with top inside. Definitely makes it a missable ball if he's trying to work the cue ball 2 rails, you know, to the backside of the black 8 to play it up in the upper left, something like that. I kind of felt like he would stun and just take the long shot on the 8 from somewhere where he's at now, like that. And with the 9 near and pretty crucial game here in mid-match, go up 6-4, maybe some type of mistake, trying to make things a little too easy on himself, and you don't want to get it to 5-5 if you're Mario. You could see he caught the 8 a little thick to the pocket. Stroke was pretty good. I think that's the only reason the 8 went. Now a little on top of the 9. Gonna have to use the bridge.
I think that's the pick of the racks from Mario He so far. For the 3rd time, he secures a 2-rack cushion. It was 2-0, it was 4-2, and now it is 6-4. By the way, I can tell you about our 6th match here on Table 1 today. Coming up after this, it will be a winners round 1 match between the Philippines' James Arenas against Vietnam's Luong Duc Tian. Should be interesting, that one, the All-Asian affair, Jeremy.
Yeah, Tian's a very good player, so James has got his hands full there and looking to get a little stronger as the matches go on. Got to pick James as a little favorite. I wouldn't doubt those two have played before.
Another player, 2-0, Petri Makinen. 9-4, he defeated Adam Stankovic. And of course, Makinen is similar to Mario He in that he's a World Cup winner.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, I think it was earlier today in our first match, that right before pandemic, I think Makinen was really coming into his own and getting some incredible results in big events. Scratch off there, off of a couple rails. Dry break, so we'll see what Lilly can do with ball in hand. But yeah, I don't think Petri can be overlooked, and he certainly won't. And these players know how great a player he is. So, like all these matches as they move on, you just have to play great pool to keep winning.
One thing with He, every time he looks like as though he's going to put his foot to the pedal, something happens and he loses momentum. In the 3rd rack, he missed quite a straightforward 8 ball. And now, just when it looked as though he was flowing, the scratch.
Yeah, and very dangerous. Is he drawing to the other side of this? This is a mistake. I don't know if it's going to cost him or not, but why wouldn't you draw up the left side of the table towards the pink 4? Look how clear that side is with ball in hand. And not only that, makes more sense to gain position from the blue 2 to the red 3 with less traffic. So a little bit of an error there, maybe a lack of experience playing 9-ball.
Yeah, it's purely and simply that.
Yeah, you could see just overshot it a bit, but there was a bit more danger coming across. And the thing is, when you talk about speed control, playing it that way, he had to cut the 1 a little bit more. So anytime you have to cut the ball, your speed's going to be not quite as good as hitting the ball a little more heavy. So that one got the best of him. We'll see if he can, find an escape here at 6-4.
The worst kind of hooks, Jeremy, the ones that are self-imposed.
Absolutely, especially at a crucial moment. Talk about crucial moments. The youngster from Sweden, I think, has just a couple chip shots left to knock Tyler Starr onto the one-loss side. And that's going to not sit well with Lilly, that missed kick on the blue too.
Yeah, when you're playing out of a snooker like that, of prime importance is to make some form of contact.
I think he missed the 9 ball to beat Steyer. Wow. And a very routine 9 ball at that. Tell me the young man's name again, playing Tyler. Excuse me there, everyone.
Yes, it is Walter Lekra.
Well, he's still got a, I think, 8-6 lead. Is that right?
That's right, yeah. But if you miss a 9 ball to win, that's a shaker.
Sure is. And it looks like Tyler got it down to make it 8-7. So we'll keep you updated there, and turn of events there, and a turn of events here in rack number 11.
Of course, this isn't the only table that's streamed today. If you want to see the table to action, it's available on the Matchroom Multisport YouTube channel. The latest match underway is Juan Carlos Exposito from Spain, who's 1-0 up on Nguyen An Tuan, who will represent Vietnam in the forthcoming World Cup of Pool.
Okay, this could get funny near the cushion with the 9 ball being there. I don't know if he can go by the 9 easily or not. Now he's shown us he's not afraid to elevate the cue, so love to just roll this in, go by the 9, you know, stay somewhere near the right middle. I think it's got to hit the bottom of the 9 here, it looks like, which could pose some problems, kind of carry the 9 with the cue ball and maybe snooker him on the 7. Another thing when you're trying to beat something here and not contact the 9, easy to take your eye off the 6, so watch for a few things here from Mario. All right, he's going to elevate. So here, just make sure you're not kind of just letting the cue ball come down table. Now he's leveled back out. And he did get by that 9, so he's okay. All these shots, though, now that we're playing on the tighter equipment, cannot be overlooked. Now he's wondering, the players would like to shoot this with like a low right English, kind of pulling the cue ball a couple rails. Inside may not grab so easily if you do it with a top English. So got to either float this, right? Got to get that English into the 7. Oh, he hit it nice, and he was so worried about overhitting it and opening up the door for that scratch in the lower left. He's held it too much.
Yes, in the end, a major malfunction.
And he'll take on the cut. Mario not afraid of these cut shots. And what a big one he made at the Whirlpool Masters on a long 8 ball against Kachi in that match. I don't know if you remember that kiss shot that Kachi missed. And beauty.
And this time pace control is par excellence. For the first time in the match, there is a 3-rack gap. And it's Mario He who is the beneficiary. He's 7-4 ahead. Loho Sum on table 3 on the hill against Antonius Kakaris at 8-5. Carl Naderberg from Estonia, 7-2 up on Abdullah Al Yusuf. Tyler Steyer, as we've said, 8-7 down now to Walter Lakery, but fighting for all he's worth. Luke Rollison from here in the UK, he leads Hayato Ishikata from Japan 5-2. Duongkok Hwang 7-3 up on Chris Cowie. Alexandra's Horsens 4-2 up on former world 9-ball champion Torsten Homan. 4-1 Yoni Uski over Sharik Saeed. And Fedor Gorsh now beginning to assume command against Abdullah Al-Shamari of Saudi Arabia. Gorsh is 6-2 to the good. That's all the matches in progress on the winner's side at the moment. Plenty on the loser's side. I can tell you the likes of Kevin Lenoy from Belgium, Terence Gulliver from Canada. They've kept themselves alive in the tournament with wins. Such a busy event with 256 players involved, Jeremy. I suppose for the top guys it's just a case of getting the 2 W's today and then moving on.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, another group of players are getting their feet wet, right? Maybe their second UK Open, but still somewhat new, the pro pool scene, and we've got everyone in between trying to win matches and stay in this event. Okay, an awful kiss on the cue ball there, but end up is going to get a nice shot on the blue 2 on the side, and now it's kind of extended that lead, and really time for Mario He to kind of close the door on this match and not fool around with Lilly, a very capable player. Not fool around with him any longer. Very open table after the blue 2 if he can get it down to extend this lead to 4 games and get on the hill at 8-4.
I agree with you, Jeremy. I think at times in this match early on he was taking things lightly, but then when Lilly got back to 4-4, it was a wake-up call.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, Mario, of course, knows the game up and down, and it doesn't take, you know, a player of Mario's caliber to recognize the talent and skill and the know-how of Lilly. So, you know, the break shot may be something that makes it hard for a player like Lilly to make a comeback, but it doesn't have to be, you know, an SVB break-off to put a few racks together. And so Mario, again, needs to get this door closed and get on to, you know, what will be Thursday, I think, for his next match. He's gotten a little straight here on the purple 5. Can't go forward 2 rails, so he'll probably just draw back maybe 5, 6, 7 inches, get a little closer to the green 6. He's going to have to take an extreme angle, even worse. But again, don't be afraid to come 2 rails back over it if you feel, you know, it makes the shot a little more comfortable. And I think he was trying to come 2 cushions, just got caught in between. You know, he's stretched over the 9. We're playing all ball fouls, of course, but can't see him not really attacking here on this thin cut on the 7.
Now that is a face that snooker players and snooker fans know. Sean O'Sullivan, from this part of the world actually, no relation to the great Ronnie O'Sullivan, but he's a very accomplished player. Interesting to see he's come down and taking a look at the 9-ball. He's got a really orthodox, compact cue action, as Sean O'Sullivan. I think if he took a pool, he'd be useful.
Well, like pool, the snooker that I do watch, which isn't as much as I probably should, but I see a lot of unique cue actions in the snooker, just like I do in the pool. Now, they're all great strikers of the ball, just like the pool players, the greats.
Well, the man at the pinnacle of the game now, the world champion, he's unorthodox, but he's also brilliant, Luca Brissell.
Right. Okay, does he go for the cross-side bank here on the 8? Does he play what looks like a pretty easy safety behind the 9? Oh, very nasty. Welding the cue ball to the 9. 8-ball did hit the point, but never really was playing the two-way shot, trying to bank the 8 past the side pocket, making the kick a little more difficult. I don't think he was playing the two-way. I mean, right there, he knows easily he could have made that and really been in a bad position on the 9.
When the cushion you're going into to escape a hook is so close, it's difficult to judge, but he will gladly settle for that.
Well, just imagine how thin he hit that, to come from underneath the first diamond, the 8 up past the middle diamond, near the third diamond probably, to cut it backwards, catch the jaws with the cue ball, and then the 8 get cut backwards all the way to the end rail off the side cushion. So super thin and a little fortunate, but it does pay to hit him. And he may have to go for this bank on the black 8.
Mario He trying to get on the hill. It is hill. Tyler Steyer, Walter Lakra. Can Steyer wriggle free and get the win?
Yeah, you hate to go down at a low percentage safety. A two-way shot of some sort would be okay, but I don't know.
You won't see this later on in the week. The last 2 days, the customary 30-second shot clock will be in operation.
Yeah, and it definitely gets to some players, but I think at some moments it helps them just get on with it and make a decision and go. Kind of like when they get a warning from the, somewhat of a soft break, the rule we have there. It seems like when they get the warning, players seem to break the balls better. Okay, very nifty, trying to use the 9 to hold the cue ball, playing somewhat of a bank to where figured Lilly would at least have to come with one really nice shot here to get back on the board. Yeah, and you said he likes to hit the ball light, but those long distance shots, to me, you lower the percentage a little bit at that speed.
He will be so relieved. Lilly missed the 8-ball from distance. He tidied up. Mario 8-4 ahead on the hill, 4 up with a possible 5 racks to play. Still very busy out there. Duong Kwok-Wang 7-4 up on Chris Cowie. Karol Skaversky's playing his second match of the day. He's not lost a rack yet. He's played 11 racks, won them all. His latest matches against Christos Papageorgiou of Greece, and Skaversky leads 2-0. Ionescu 2 racks up on Sharik Saeed at 4-2. Fedor Gorst forging on into a 7-2 lead over Abdullah Al-Shamari.
Well, it hasn't been the break that's the problem for Mario now. Doesn't have a great shot at the blue two, has a great look at the blue two, but and this is, I'll tell you, if the three's just a hair off the rail, this is the type of long distance combination you may see the player go at. I get a feeling of really liking it, especially like I said, now if the three's frozen to the cushion, this is a combination you will never shoot at really. But with it a hair off the cushion, I wouldn't be surprised if he attacks here, even though it's a very threatening score, even at 8-4. And Lilly maybe hasn't shown us the best break-off that we've seen in the tournament. But like I said, it doesn't have to be the best just to get a few racks down. Did he get the fluke? No, he didn't. And I'm really surprised he shot that with speed. I thought he wouldn't baby it, but maybe more of a rolling ball, making the pocket just a little bigger.
Lilly down to his last throw of the dice. The ball's quite friendly in the way they're spread. Can he pull one back?
Really nice speed there coming across. I was a little worried he got down and shot quickly. If he falls on the rail over there behind the pink forward, could be a little awkward. Played for quite a bit of angle here on the purple 5. Is that enough? Kind of awkward, like a downhill, downward strike on the cue ball, even though he was running the ball.
And as we mentioned earlier, Jeremy, when the snooker players involved today have been faced with this kind of shot, far more often than not, they've undercut. That was much better, right into the heart of the pocket. And it looks as though Lilly is going to stay alive.
A little on top of the 9 here. A little stretch, shouldn't be a problem. But
well done, David Lilley. It is going to be quite a lengthy road back into the contest, but at least he's got the one rack sorted out. 4 more to go. Mario He's lead is trimmed to 8-5.
the youngster from Sweden had a chance at 8-6. He had another chance at 8-7 against Tyler Steyer, and now 8-8. He's got the first look to run the table as well. We'll see how that unfolds here shortly.
On the first and even the second day of these open events, you always get the odd shock, don't you? Obviously, Albin Auschen has been a monumental upset. Tyler Steyer losing to the Swedish youngster would also be considered a shock. So they do occur, not too often, but you get the occasional one.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're going to have more of that each and every event. You're just going to have players improving, and I wouldn't say so much with Albin, But here's that break I was talking about. It doesn't have to be so glamorous and so great looking, but he got a ball down, did unfortunately get snookered behind the green 6 to try and attack at the yellow 1. But, you know, of course the pressure's on Albin playing Phil, but he knows Phil's a capable player. And, you know, but it's a little different, I think, a little odd pressure when you're playing a junior like Tyler is. So no excuses, of course. This is a professional pool, but you can get a little bit between your own ears, it seems.
We saw that, didn't we, when Shane Van Boning took on Joey Tate. Tate had a wonderful opportunity to defeat the great man. Didn't help that he potted the wrong ball, of course.
Yeah, I feel for him there, and thankfully, I think many leave that subject alone with Joey, but Joey's such a great kid. Every time I've seen him get asked about it, he's laughed it off, and I kind of know the feeling a little bit with the time foul a couple years ago there at the Moscone. It's brought up a lot to me, and just got to, you know, have fun with it.
I think I've been very good in that regard, Jeremy. I don't think I've mentioned it for several months.
Yeah. What was amazing to me, not only that people would mention it, but how they would mention it. If, you know, like 50 or 100 different ways to make you feel bad about it. So, but that's okay. I know people don't mean it. It's just sometimes you can't help yourself, and you want to ask. You want to wonder why someone was thinking this way or that way, and just part of it. And from that roar, you got to believe Tyler Steyer's taking his first loss. And even more importantly, the young man from Sweden has gotten his second win.
Good on him. I think he was scheduled to play in the Jason Shaw Junior Open later in the week, and he pulled out of that to play in the main draw. And what a result. What a result. Because Tyler Steyer now, I think it's fair to say, he's a US Moscone Cup mainstay.
Yeah, well, he played great last year. Of course, he's a little outside the points right now, but a lot of season left. And, you know, he's had some big moments in that Moscone. So whoever is that Team USA captain will always have things to think about. And Tyler Steyer will definitely be in those thoughts.
Yeah, because it is a 5-man team. It's 3 automatics and 2 wildcards. So even if Steyer doesn't get into the team automatically, he's got to be majorly considered for the wildcard.
Absolutely. I mean, last year it was, I wouldn't say an easy pick for me, but definitely a little bit obvious. You know, didn't make it off the rankings, but some of the matches and the way he played throughout the year and some of the big moments. And, of course, having that experience of already being on a winning team, so means a lot. Mario contemplating, do I draw the cue ball here on the pink 4? That would give me a better angle to get from the purple 5 to the 6 easily, the green 6 up the table. I like him drawing the ball here. I always say when you're in good position, stay aggressive with position. No reason to get passive there and make things more tricky from the 5 to the 6. So now he's pretty much in ball in hand position. Just a soft 2 cushions. Make sure you get off the rail with the second cushion. That's the most important. So I'd say if Mario goes on to get out here, he's got a lot of good things to lean on. You know, some of the tougher shots he knocked in really nicely. Just kind of let a few things get away from him. Maybe starting to match a little ahead of himself, you might say. Looking at Lilly as, you know, maybe someone he was a huge favorite. And he was a favorite, but a very capable player in David Lilley.
awaiting the winner in the next round is Marco Dorenberg or Dimitris Lukatos. And for all money, it's going to be Mario He going through.
Yeah, and our next match will get kicked off a little earlier, around 5:30 here, local time.
Yes, he was pegged back. It was 4-4. You started to think, could the snooker player prevail? Not so. In the end, Mario He played a much better second half of the contest, and his 9-5 winning margin was well